Hello everybody, my name is Ian, and this week I saw Avengers Infinity War, and what did I think about it? Now, before I get into this, I want to say this is not a spoiler review, this is completely spoiler free, but if you don't want to know anything about Infinity War before you see it, then don't watch this review. I was really hoping to love this movie. We got to see all these characters come together for the first time, characters that have never met each other before. I was expecting a lot of really fun, really cool character interactions, and we didn't really get any of that. It was kind of all of the character interactions were kind of lackluster. It focused on a few characters, and a lot of characters didn't really get their moment to shine, or most characters didn't get their moment to shine, or didn't have a fun moment or a joke or anything. It took itself way too seriously. The villain was so bland and poorly written. The writing wasn't good. Action scenes were boring, and you couldn't tell what was going on during them. You had just so much convoluted stuff that you kind of had to just go, I guess, fine. A lot of really annoying jokes happened in it that just didn't land. It just so unsatisfying, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And by unsatisfying, I mean this movie fucking rocked, guys. This movie was so damn good. This is the culmination of 10 years of Marvel films, and they pulled it off perfectly. I don't know about perfectly, but they pulled it off perfectly. Better than any of us certainly could have. The Russo brothers are 3 for 3 now, and man, give them whatever you want. The Russo brothers have made now 3 of my favorite Marvel movies, being Infinity War, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier is still my favorite Marvel movie, but I think that's only because I feel it's unfair to compare it to Infinity War, because Infinity War is just in another league entirely. Thanos was so well done. I expected Thanos to be this villain where he's just bad to be bad, right? Like a lot of Marvel villain problems is the villain is kind of just bad to be bad. But Thanos, there were many times where they explained Thanos' backstory and his motivation, and there were many times where I was like, I get it, man. I get it. Maybe wouldn't have gone about it the same way you have, but I get it. 100%. And like that's the same thing with Loki, and that's the same thing with Killmonger, and that's why those villains were so good, is because you look at it and you see their backstory and you understand their pain, you understand their history, and you go, I get it. Maybe don't agree with you entirely, but I get it. And that's what they did with Thanos, and it was so good. Pretty much all of the characters had a fun moment. This movie really delivered on pretty much everything it promised, and it gave me everything I had hoped for this movie. And even more. Some characters that you may not have liked in previous movies made the characters likable in this movie. If you haven't seen all the Marvel movies, but you do have a general idea of the characters and what they're about and what they can do, then you should be fine going into this movie. If you have not seen any or very little of the Marvel movies, this movie is not a good one to jump in on because there is so much that you have to know beforehand. They don't do a lot of explaining in this movie, which I love. It really lends to the fans of this universe that have seen every movie and know what the characters are about and know their motivation. There is some explaining in this, like they explain the events of the Thor movies very briefly. They don't talk about the Iron Man movies almost at all. They don't talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. They briefly talk about Doctor Strange. Guardians of the Galaxy they briefly go over. But really, it's kind of just a quick recap for those who forget. Like, hey, I know you guys have seen all these movies, but just real quickly, this is what happened in case you forgot. And it did help sometimes. And you have a lot of these really emotional moments for a lot of these characters, and it is so well acted. There's a lot of fan service, but it's a lot of very well done fan service in my opinion, and this movie is just fantastic. I don't know what my rating system is anymore. If I had to rate this movie out of 5, I'd probably give it... How many Infinity Stones are there? 6? 6 Infinity Stones. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know so I can be sure to do more of these. In the meantime, my name is Ian. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye! Wait, what?